Through an arch of white roses, they emerge man and wife. Their first official duty, a kiss, of course. For the 600 guests, it was an early start, a predictably posh affair, homegrown celebrities and dignitaries mingling with Meghan Markle's co-stars from her hit show, Suits. First sighting of the groom and last night's relaxed demeanour gone, replaced by hand-wringing and a nervous bite of the lip. En route with her mother Doria in a vintage Rolls-Royce, the bride, her royal wave perfected. Then, the dress. Without her father, but not entirely alone, Meghan Markle walked part of the way down the aisle before being met by her soon-to-be father-in-law. As the couple meet, the lip readers are working overtime. Their best guests here. I'm a bit nervous, he says, or something like it.
Marriage is a gift of God in creation.
In this most traditional of settings, the most powerful sign of change. On one side, the mother of the bride, a black American social worker. On the other, the grandmother of the groom, the Queen.
There's power. Power in love. If you don't believe me, think about a time when you first fell in love. The whole world seemed to center around you and your beloved.
Quoting Martin Luther King, referencing slavery, Bishop Michael Curry, head of the American Episcopal Church.
Imagine this tired old world when love is the way, when love is the way, unselfish, sacrificial, redemptive.
Delivering with a passion and animation, perhaps never seen in St. George's Chapel before.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we see. No, I won't be afraid.
Then in the 15th century chapel, some 1960s soul.
So darling, darling, stand by me. Stand by me. Yeah, stand by me.
I, Harry, take you, Meghan.
I, Harry, take you, Meghan.
To be my wife.
To be my wife.
To have and to hold. I, Meghan, take you, Harry.
I, Meghan, take you, Harry.
To be my husband.
To be my husband.
Meghan, I give you this ring.
After the exchange of rings, Prince Harry breaking with royal tradition to wear one, it's done.
I therefore proclaim that they are husband and wife.
Through the streets of Windsor, now Duke and Duchess of Sussex, though the waiting crowd still hoping they'll answer to just Harry and Meghan. Getting the shot almost better than seeing it all in real life.
Yeah, you got it!
Let's have a look.
Oh wow, amazing.
So you managed to catch them. What did you think?
She's beautiful. They
Yeah.
look so good. Oh, they look so cute. I like it. Yeah, it was amazing, amazing.
Up the long walk, lined with tens of thousands of well-wishers. Before heading into Windsor Castle, out of the public gaze, for a while at least.
Well, Meghan Markle has been hailed as a symbol of a more modern Britain, one that is diverse, open and inclusive. But But do black Britons feel too much is being read into this? Or is a post-racial British establishment really possible? Simeon Brown has been to Peckham in South London, where people have been celebrating the royal wedding in their own style.
30 miles from Windsor, a very different wedding party is happening in South London. In multiracial Peckham, there are many invested in this love story.
I'm mixed race. My father's from Grenada, my mother's from England. So yeah, it definitely makes me relate to Meghan and loving the fact that Harry's married a mixed race girl and brought a bit of culture into the royal family.
And Charlotte may not be the only newly converted royalist here.
Maybe this might make me pro-monarchy.
How comes?
I think it's just an amazing thing, you know. He chose love and they seem really well suited, seem so happy. And I think, you know, for women watching as well and what Meghan stands for independently, I think that's really great. So I think a lot more people have become royalists now because of her.
Today's fanfare is not just about the fact that the new princess is mixed heritage, but about how actively the royal couple have spoken to that diversity in their choices. Firstly, by calling out perceived racism in the press. Secondly, to visiting diverse communities, including this one. And if there was any doubt, today's ceremony was a beacon of diversity. This might be the first royal wedding where the mother of the bride had locks.
I'm loving the fact that Meghan's mum is a lock sister and I'm a lock sister. So yeah, it's amazing. And I think, but it was something that I always expected from Harry anyway. I didn't think Harry was going to marry a regular English girl. I didn't ever see it happening.
This wedding is not just a British affair. Mazdali is from Colombia via Sweden.
I know my whole family in Sweden as well are watching it. It's something that is very important for us because we were saying before that now in the new era and in these times, it's very important to appreciate everyone for who they are. And I really think that Harry has done an amazing job because he's basically gone with his heart and not looked back at any judgments or anything like that.
But despite all the resurgent love for the royals, republicanism is not dead.
Yeah, it's amazing. Weddings are amazing, but why, as the taxpayers, do we have to fund that and not actually better care or more for the NHS? That's just my balance, really. My issue is, well, it's not really an issue. Black women have been dating white men from day. So why does some random woman, because she's married Harry, that's like pushing the agenda for race relations forward, where actually loads of people in the civil rights movement in Britain and in England, in America and in Britain have done more than someone just randomly marrying a rich white guy.
For some, today is a sign that multiculturalism remains a virtue for many. For others, it's just another day to enjoy some fun and have a sing-along. And isn't that the point of weddings anyway?
Well, joining me here in Windsor is the writer Erenison Okoje and Rosie Ginde, founder of a social enterprise business that provides training for disadvantaged young people. Now, she was one of the members of the public invited to watch the ceremony from inside the castle walls. Erenison, I mean, some of the images today have been incredibly powerful, but images can be powerful and yet meaningless. So how do you weigh the importance of today?
Well, I think it's hugely important. I mean, you look at the fact that it's a woman of colour joining the royal family and all the interest that it's garnered, especially from young people. I think it's hugely significant and it's something to celebrate, and there were some astonishing moments during that ceremony. Reverend Curry's address in particular, which really struck a chord and was hugely emotive.
What did you make of that moment? Because there were lots of sort of shots of the congregation looking slightly nonplussed at this larger-than-life American preacher preaching in an American style, and I think there's already been quite a lot of sort of slightly snide criticism.
Well, it was really interesting seeing some of the expressions of the guests, that kind of British sneering happening. But I thought it was a fantastic speech. I thought it was invigorating. It had a sort of Martin Luther King quality about it. And he spoke about the power of love, to heal any sort of ills within society. And I felt that that was hugely fitting for what we're experiencing now in terms of Brexit and what communities of colour are experiencing in this country.
Rosie, you were part of this group of people inside the walls, but not inside the service. What do you think the function of that was? What did you feel part of today?
I felt part of the whole day. I mean, my experience and the experience of the people also in the crowd definitely was not one of sneering. It was a fantastic thing to be part of, and that reading was just brilliant. Everyone felt like it was a great encapsulation of the whole day, and it felt like it was a really personal celebration that was shared with the whole nation. I thought it was brilliant.
And what do you think the significance is, beyond today? I mean, is today and all the imagery that goes with it just the product of the fact that Prince William met Meghan Markle, who happens to have a black mother, or is there something bigger than that that's happening? Do you think is it turning the dial?
I think it's a great celebration of Miss Markle and Prince Harry, and that's fantastic. I'm not sure that it's going to have much of an impact in terms of the young people that I work with and their experience kind of in their day-to-day life. I'd hope it would do, but I'm not sure that will happen.
Do you not think young people will look at somebody who looks a bit like them and go, well, she's part of the British establishment?
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's a lot more accessible to some of the young people that we work with, but whether that changes the whole of society and the perceptions and the opportunities and access to those opportunities, I'm not sure that will happen.
Irenison, I mean, it's hard to see this as anything but very positive for the royal family. And if you think about the last 2 or 3 decades, they've had really difficult moments, particularly with regard to marriages. This is not just modern, is it? It's more inclusive.
Well, it feels really current, and I said earlier, just having Meghan included in the family, people see themselves reflected. They suddenly have much more interest in the royal family. I mean, lots of my friends were talking about the royal family who showed no interest whatsoever before.
But
so I think that's very telling.
Assumed that the royal family's support amongst the younger generation might be time limited. Do you think this gives it a boost for another generation? Absolutely.
I think Harry already is somebody that's been very popular with the younger generation, and that's continued now with Meghan, in the fold as well. So I think that will continue.
What do you think the challenge is for them in terms of managing their public profile now and what they do?
Well, it's inevitable. It's going to be constant. I just hope that she can continue to be herself under that gaze, because it is very, very intense and it's difficult to please everybody. So that's my hope, that they will be allowed to, be left in peace a little bit at least, I think.
What do you think they should do with their position?
Well, I think they should just continue to do what they've done prior to the wedding, which, Ms Markle was an activist, a feminist, and Prince Harry's doing amazing work for charity, so they should just continue doing that and amplify it with them as a couple.
That's the thing, because there's quite a lot of commentary around today that says, well, now that she's a princess, well, a duchess, but, let's call her a princess, she should sort of assume normal royal protocol, and that the most successful royals are ones who kind of drown or, put a cloak over their real personality and play the game.
Well,
the question is, should she play the game or should she be herself?
The royals do such a huge amount for charity, so yeah, they're patrons of loads and loads of different organisations, so just continue to do what the rest of them do, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at what Diana did, she, had lots of interesting charities she supported and appealed to communities across the board. And I think if they continue to do that, they will continue to be a success.
Obviously, we've talked about race a lot over the last few minutes, but I mean, is perhaps the fact that she's an American divorcee more significant?
Well, it's certainly very different to what we're used to.
And a famous actress.
Yeah, I mean, it adds an element of glamour, absolutely. I think it's not what we're used to. She's not a blue blood. She's not somebody that you would expect to join the royal family. And this union, it sort of transcends race, class, and it feels like a dynamic union. It feels fitting for our times, I think.
Yeah, I think it just looks like a couple from the streets of Britain.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. You look around, I come from Birmingham.
Where do you live?
Yeah, Birmingham, absolutely. I'm in a mixed race relationship, you look down the streets and absolutely you'll see different people of different colours holding hands, and it's just very current. It reflects society, I think.
Thank you both very much indeed. Enjoy the rest of the day. Meghan Markle, born and raised in Los Angeles, has brought a definite American touch to today's ceremony, from the preacher to the soul music. And naturally, the royal wedding mania has spread across the United States, with wall-to-wall media coverage and parties celebrating an American woman of colour starring in her own fairy tale, which couldn't have been better scripted by Hollywood. From Washington, Kieran Moodley reports.
Husband and wife.
No, not Windsor, but Washington. The replica ceiling, not a bad attempt at mirroring St George's Chapel, but there are enough dresses, hats, cups of tea and emotion to rival the partying across the pond.
As a misbehaving younger sibling myself and a huge Suits fan, this is a very special day for me.
Is it more important and exciting because she's American as well?
Definitely. She went to Northwestern. Yeah, she's divorced. She's biracial. She's American. I think it's cool.
With the ceremony starting at 7 a.m. here, it was too early for the When Harry Met Meghan cocktails, but these are dedicated followers of British royalty, cheering every family member, old and new, watching a bride make history.
As a biracial woman, seeing Meghan up there is very, very empowering, and having her as an American be in the royal family now, as an American as well, is just like that we're breaking down walls.
It's been a rough time for African Americans of late, and to have something so visible to celebrate it's a joy.
And you said you're a huge fan of these weddings.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
When you were little, did you ever think you'd see something like this?
No. 2 years ago, I'm not sure I thought I'd see something like this.
This crowd didn't expect that from a chapel founded by King Edward III, they'd hear the familiar words of an American king.
The late Dr. Martin Luther King once said, and I quote, "We must discover the power of love, the redemptive power of love. And when we do that, we will make of this old world a new world."
Stand by me. Stand by me.
Do you think it was important to have that sort of American aspect to the wedding?
I'm glad they had some things for her.
You went after me because of something that my fiancé did.
And Meghan was already American royalty, a household name as Rachel Zane in the series Suits.
That's the thing. I don't want to drop everything right now. I want to get married. But I also really care about what I do.
Meghan has cared about volunteering too, helping to tackle poverty abroad, as well as working with the United Nations to address gender equality. A cause she's been pushing from a young age, when she wrote a letter of complaint about an advert she claimed was sexist.
At the age of 11, I had created my small level of impact by standing up for equality.
Now at the age of 36, she's made a global impact, a powerful symbol for a new generation.
Perhaps it's not one that they wish to make themselves, but it's a statement of inclusion and of love despite our differences. It's a celebration of all the things that should truly matter.
At a time when both America and the UK seem increasingly divided, this was at least a moment to toast a new, more optimistic union.